Hello. So there are four main things that'll help you sort your spreadsheet in Google Sheets. The first one is understanding how to freeze rows and freeze columns. So if you look in the upper left-hand corner of your spreadsheet, you'll see this little box here underneath the function button, and you'll have two gray lines. One of them is vertical and one is horizontal. If you hover over those with your mouse, you'll notice that it turns into a hand at some point. And once it's turned into a hand, you can click and drag down, for example, and this will freeze the row. And so when I start scrolling down, for example, all my titles and headers stay there, and I can tell whose name it is, and so on and so forth as I'm scrolling down. The next thing is if I have to look at information that is expanded to the right even more, I want to make sure that I can keep the student identifier in there. So if I hover over the vertical gray line till I see the hand, I can drag that over. And now I can keep the student identifier in place. And as I scroll to the right, the student identifier now stays there even as I scroll over to the right side or to the left. So that's freezing rows. The other part then is the awesome box. If you go underneath that function button and you click on the awesome box, basically what that thing does is it just highlights the entire spreadsheet so that you can filter and sort information easier. So once you click it once, it will highlight everything. If you unclick it, then basically it'll just select whatever cell you're in. So if I go ahead and click that again and highlight everything, I'm going to go over here and then to the third piece of information that we think will be helpful, and that is learning how to filter information. So click the awesome box first, then go over to where this filter is and click on the filter button. Once you click on the filter button, it will then show you these little triangles here, these little lines basically, and these represent little filters. And what you can do with this information is click on here, and then you'll get a little drop down that shows you all the information that's in that particular column. So if I want to, for example, figure out who scored ones in my fall score, I can go ahead and clear everything in here and just choose 1. In this case, I also want 1.5 because that would represent anything in the 1 area. So push OK. And what will happen is it'll shrink down my data to show me what or who scored in the 1 so far. So 1 and 1.5. And I can see all these students are in there. Now, if I want to shrink down that information even farther and say I want to know who is in the fall area scoring a 1 or 1.5, and then also in the winter still scoring a 1 or 1.5, I can check that. Well, just by looking at this right away, I can see that there's no one in that winter score area that is underneath the 1 point. So all the students have grown out of that one area. Now, if I decide that I want to say who's still in the 1s and 2s, I can go ahead and uncheck any of the 3s and 3.5s. And now what I'm looking for is anybody who is in a 1 or 1.5 in the fall and is also in the 2 or 2.5 still in the winter. So these would be some of the students that I might need to focus on in that case who are not yet proficient in the winter scores area. I can also use that same bit of information, that same function, to sort information. So let me go ahead and turn the filter off so I can get all of my data back. As soon as I turn it off, it's going to give me everything back here to as normal. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on the awesome box again in order to highlight everything. And I'm going to click the filter again. Now if I want to take this information, let's say, and I want to sort it by all the students who scored 4, let's say, first, and then go backwards to 1. So let's go and click on that fall score area, and I'm going to choose Z to A. And what that'll do for me is it's going to sort all my highest ones first and then all my lowest ones later. So starting off, my highest score was a 2.5 in that particular fall score area. If I want to do the same thing, I can just I can basically push undo if I want to remove what I just did. Just push the undo button. That'll put everything back to normal again. And now I can try the same thing with the winter scores. So let's go ahead and sort that one from Z to A. It'll show all my highest scores then right at the top. I can sort that the other way by going to A to Z, and I can see these are my lowest scores then going down below. At any time, if I want to get back, I can certainly sort these by last name, for example, too. So if I go ahead and click on last name, I can sort A to Z, and this is how it started when I got to the spreadsheet. So here we go. That was basically learning how to freeze rows and freeze columns, clicking on this awesome box anytime you need to highlight everything, and then using the filter button up here to both filter out information and sort information. Hopefully that helps.